those are becoming the anchors of businesses now. And that's kind of why I kind of built what I built, because it was like, this is really changing.
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman. Joining me today is a brand new rock star. I am super pumped to dive into this conversation. He's a systems architect, an entrepreneur, and the founder of G-Stacker, and he's been living and breathing search since 1997. We'll dive into that. He's here today to help us understand how AI is changing the search game for local businesses and what you need to do right now to stay visible and competitive. Ferdinand Mehlinger, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun today. So I want to start with your story. I mean, you were literally in the room when Backrub became Google back in 1997. So can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like and how does it shape the way you see search today?
Yeah, it's funny. I think a lot of people think that back then it was this like magical moment, but in all honesty, I was just a kid trying to get a paycheck. And my dad was a big nerd and had worked for JPL, and he had a computer. So I was kind of coding in kindergarten and first grade. So and wasn't like I was taught, I just kind of understood it. So when this whole thing came about with Backrub, I knew what was being built. And I knew, like, with all the AOL CDs coming out and Yellow Pages kind of disappearing and Thomas Guides kind of disappearing because of the Garmin, all of those, was it called Garmin? But there was I think it was called Garmin. There was a few of them. Tom. There was a bunch of them back then.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm dating myself, really. But I just knew at the time that it was pretty special. And I remember going into a lot of the meetings where they were kind of coining the term information superhighway. So I remember them talking about that, saying, if you had a garage sale, because they would be talking to different investors that they would be trying to bring money into. And so it was really cool in the beginning. It was cool because we were involved with everything, but as it grew, they pushed everybody out. But they would talk about, if you were trying to deliver a message to a car that was driving by, and if it was on the freeway, well, you'd have to give signs for an exit of where you need to go, and then you'd still need to give them directions to the house of where everything was being sold at. But if they were just driving down the street, they'd see the sign, it would be right there. So they were trying to figure out the data that would come from all these points to give you the best information that you could receive. So yeah, that was, and it interested me. I thought that was really fun. Maybe I'm a little different, but
aren't we all? Yeah, aren't we all? But I mean, I've heard you say that you don't think old school SEO doesn't work anymore. So what's actually changed and what should business owners be doing instead?
Yeah, so they changed a lot. And AI has a lot to do with it. I think everybody knows that. It's just, they call it AI slop. It's just a lot of stuff that's going out there that at the end phase of the verification. So when the bots are verifying everything and they're bringing it back to like Daddy Google, if there isn't anything that is idiosyncratic about that specific information, hence the new patent they put out was called information gain, then they don't show it. There's no reason to. So basically, in the past, you could backlink, you could use a whole bunch of tricks, meta schema and all that's still used, but it's coming down to verification with your customer ID and your knowledge graph ID. So if they know what those are associated with, then you're actually having you're being verified. So it's almost kind of like having a social security number or having like a TSA pre-check to where you can go through the airport and they've checked you, you've gone through the check, you did the interview, they've got all your information. Now you're clear to go. So that's kind of where things are going now. It's just, and it makes sense because they need verifiable information.
Yeah, because there's just so much out there now. And so as someone who's a content creator, we want to continue to and I think that's why leading with value is good, right? Because you're putting something out there that, um, but you've talked about this verification crisis, and maybe that's what you're referring to, but um, how that's pushing small business in search. But like for somebody like me, explain it to me like I'm a toddler, right? Like, what does it mean in plain English, and how serious is it for somebody like me?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, when you put your business on Google, let's say your Google business page and your website, Google has to associate that with some sort of identification. And normally it's that piece of mail that you get in the mail that's got all the numbers on it that you verify back with Google. That then sends a message back to them that you are now verified with a human being with this business associated with this customer ID, CID number. Um, in their system now, they're going to, so, and it becomes an entity. So an entity to all of these um, bots, search engines, LLMs. It's a person, place, or thing, a noun. Business, uh, influencer, artist, person, place, or thing. Business, so they're trying to figure out who you are, and then they're associating your entity with different entities. So your entity does business or has a service that does what type of entity and for what other entities are there. So it's trying to make the associations. It's not bad by any means, and it's not trying to go deeper into your information. I mean, it's going deeper into your information, but it's trying to really understand who you are, what you provide, where you're at. And this is where the location pieces come in, to where now you've got the Google Maps and you can see everything kind of being generated around your business. So that CID and that KGID, which is customer ID and knowledge graph ID, those are becoming the anchors of businesses now. And that's kind of why I kind of built what I built, because it was like, this is really changing. When you look at their patents and what they've done with this information gain, if you're not giving them any information that they can gain on, or the user that it can gain on, that it gets more information from you, they're saying in their algorithm, there's no use to show you, because there's already 10 people that are saying the same thing. So why would you be shown if there's nothing new that's to show? So that's kind of where this whole information gain goes. That's associated with your customer ID and then your knowledge graph ID. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So based on that, uh, again, so we started with search. It's like SEO is a struggle right now. We need to verify it. So if you're a business owner listening right now, and maybe their phone stopped ringing, maybe they've noticed a decline in traffic, what is like the very first step they should take to fix that?
First step I would do is make sure you get your Google business page or Bing, but Google is the Mac daddy of all data. So you get your Google business page set up and make sure that it doesn't look as general as what everybody else does, because that's just, again, showing them that you're the same as everybody else. So there's got to be something. It's just like if you're meeting with a customer, what are you going to tell your customer of why they should choose you as opposed to the last person that came to their door, or that they were talking to? So you've just got to kind of make it very customized to you and idiosyncratic to your specific business and what you provide, or your product or your services.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is interesting. And I think that we are living through a time where it's like things are moving so fast and changing so quickly. We can't get romantic about what's worked in the past, because it could be different next week, right? So where can people learn a little bit more about you, Ferdinand, and learn a little bit more about what you have to offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So for this specific problem, I built a software that is authorized by Google. I partnered with them on this, and it basically does all of this for you, so you don't have to figure any of this out, because it is a lot of information. And if you get it wrong, it, now you're starting to program entities into the system that now then you've got to try to counteract, and that's a mess all in itself. So with GStacker, which is gstacker.com. That's kind of where you can find everything out about me, and also Ferdinand Mehlinger. But it's GStacker is really, as a business, that's what I tried to focus on, to make sure that businesses could be found, could be relevant from 2026 on. This isn't like this has been going on for like the last year. This just started January, February, March of this year, and they just started with this patent. So you're seeing remnants starting to show, but you need to take action now. That's what I would tell businesses. Start to take action now. Get your Google business page built out. Start associating entities with your business. Make sure your name, your address, your phone number is the same every single place.
Yes.
Don't have one thing mixed up, or one email saying one thing here and then another one. That you've got to associate everything. The continuity is absolutely important.
Yeah, that's great advice. Well, this has been fun. It's been like a masterclass. So thank you for kind of educating me. We'll have to do it again sometime. Okay.
Absolutely. You have a great day. Thank you so much for
Uh,
having me on here.
you bet. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.